Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule of the Galaxy fans, it is Joe in the pilot seat. We are on chapter 195, believe it or not. 195 episodes.
Seriously.
And our guest T Bob was on episode 4, just to let you know that. But
Yes.
195 episodes of Rule of the Galaxy. It's going to be a fun show. Obviously, we've got Bad Batch to talk about. We've got Mandalorian to talk about. There were other things in the Star Wars universe, believe it or not, still going on. And I owe you guys a little quick snippet on some movie reviews. So I'll do that
Oh,
as
God.
well. But you can always follow us at Rule of the Galaxy SW on Twitter and Instagram. Just Rule of the Galaxy on Facebook and YouTube, which if you're not watching us on YouTube, why? Because half the fun is seeing us laugh at each other and make the stupid faces that we do. Last but not least, well, no, not last but not least, I will send out the link because I forget it for our gear, but Laura Burton's taking care of us. I'm wearing one of the shirts right now.
Looks so good.
Yes, and always email us at ruleofthegalaxysw@gmail.com. And I'll tell you what, the next 5 people that email me at ruleofthegalaxysw@gmail.com, I will send out a handy dandy sticker. Where are the stickers? They're right here for you watching on YouTube. I'll get this. You can put it wherever you want. Put it somewhere good so people can see it. But that's it. That's the spiel. Rule of the Galaxy is here. We got a lot going on. We've got, we'll start with the regular co-host, Brent. Brent, how are you, sir?
I'm doing dandy, and you said we're at 195, which is just flabbergasting. But I was trying to think, was the last episode of the Mando episode like 100? I feel like it's been that long since Mando's
It's been
since
it's
that
been a
Mando's
while. Yeah.
it has. But I'm being facetious, but not. I mean, I feel like it's 2 years since the last actual Mando.
Yeah.
We had Mando 2.5 if you're into the following all the stuff, but the actual Mando was like 2020 or something like that.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mark Anthony Austin helped us finish up the first season
Boba
of Mando,
Fett,
right?
No,
Oh,
I
no,
think he was
Book of Boba Fett. That's right.
He came in,
Fett.
and
it's
been about a year.
Yeah, it's a long time. So
Been a long wait.
Yeah, it has been. So we're all excited about it. Everything going good with you, Brent?
Yeah, so far so good. Escaping into the world and the galaxy far, far away.
Okay.
So I'm doing some stuff. I got an extra Vader the other day, so this Legion stuff that I'm painting up. So I'm trying. So I got like an extra Vader character. So I'm doing the white Vader from like the What If type comic books. So for anybody that paints miniatures, if you listen to this, white sucks. Sucks
so hard.
And so it's about I don't know. I'm okay with where it's at right now, but it's still like so.
How many layers do you have to put of white on there,
dude? So I primed it black. That I went.
Oh, what?
Hold on.
That seems the exact opposite of what we want to do.
Correct. And I probably should have primed it white, but there's this technique, and I'm trying to make myself better. It's called slap chop. If you listen to it, whatever.
Yeah. I know about slap chop. I've been doing it too.
So it's basically a dark prime, then you layer back up with like grays to get to a white.
Okay.
So and then from there, right? So I layered up dark gray to a mid gray to a light gray to like a white gray. And then from there, I started messing around with some contrast paints and stuff like that. And
that's kind of interesting, Brad. So you're saying, because I do a bit of a lazy man's slap chop where I'll prime black and then I'll just do a straight from above white prime.
So that's Zenithal, right?
Zenithal highlight, highlight.
So Zenithal highlight is pretty much that's like the old school way of doing this slap chop, which is fine. I've watched other things go on with the slap chop, and so I'm trying it this way, and it's to mixed results. I did my Boba Fett that way, and I actually liked the way that the Boba Fett turned out. I did some speeder bikes with the green armor, so they're like swamp scout troopers. And I really like the way that worked. So I went slap chop gray up to like a dark green and then threw some light green for highlights. So, yeah, I know there's about 4 people that are listening that are actually interested.
Well, I'm one of them. I mean, I'm with you, dude. You got to send me pictures, Brent. This sounds awesome.
Yes, you need to get those on Instagram, Brent. I need more content on Instagram from you.
Sure.
With the game stuff.
Sure. but yeah, so I'll take some pictures of Vader. Like
Okay.
I said, I'm about 80%. I'm almost done with it. Like I hit it with washes, and then I tried to bring it back up, and then I tried to hit like with a pure white highlights, and I got the face mask where I want it, like the actual face and highlighted, but like the helmet's not where I. It's where it's gonna stay, right? Like the thing is, like if you use it on the tabletop, you're gonna look at it from 3-4 feet away, and all the stuff that I get all upset about it, you're not gonna be able to tell the details that.
Oh, it's gonna look awesome. I mean,
right.
And it's also one of those things where I find in any artistic pursuit, but like something like paint miniatures, certainly, you can really you can keep doing stuff forever if you wanted to. Like eventually, you have to be like, I want to paint a different model. So I'm just it's done. We're done. We're moving on.
Right. And I'm normally that way, but I'm trying to like I said, I'm like, I can't believe how into it I've gotten. Like my nerddom towards painting and color blending and shit has like skyrocketed from this. And I'm also, my day job, I am a instructional coach. So I go around and I walk into rooms and I help teachers teach and like watch what they're doing and critique them and stuff like that. I have the art department at my school that I'm at right now. So I walk in and they're talking, they're talking color theory. I'm like, oh shit, I can use that for my miniature. Like as I'm talking.
Brent, I feel like there's, once we get to be adults, never do anything if you're not going to get anything out of it. Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're capitalizing on that.
At the same time, I am floored by what I can actually produce, right? Like I never thought that I'd be able to do that. So I'm floored by what it actually looks like. When I get something that I'm like, this is really cool. So
and it's the sense of pride you get is unmatched, knowing that you took this thing from just plastic to now looking like it has life. And there are few things more zen than being in a satisfactory paint zone, or maybe you got like a podcast listening to or some music you're listening to. It's just the absolute best way to relax, dude.
I listen to the battle reports from people playing the different games.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
The level of nerddom, I'm telling you, is like you think that Star Wars is here, then you just find this caveat in this little tentacle of Star Wars that takes your nerddom to another level.
I'm gonna I'm gonna get some Legion actually next, just because I want to paint Star Wars. I don't right now. I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to play Legion and set a third child. But
here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a commercial out there. What you should do then is wait. I don't know how the gameplay is gonna play, but they're putting out another game. AMG, the Atomic Mass Games, is putting out another game called Shatterpoint. So Shatterpoint is taking the miniatures from like the 1 to 48 scale, and they're gonna be like they're gonna be about a 42 millimeter model. So have you heard of Marvel Crisis Protocol?
It is. I have not played it, but at my game shop, it is the hotness right now.
Right. So think Marvel Crisis Protocol, but in the Star Wars world.
Oh,
yeah. And so they're taking the same characters. Some of them are like the same molds and some of the same sculpts. But so like the Obi-Wan is the same sculpt, but it's going to be, instead of like the 1.5 inches, it'll be about a 2.5 inch.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Okay, I'm glad that we talked about this.
So the painting is going to be a ton easier because the bigger the model, it's a little bit easier to paint onto it. And the gameplay, they're releasing models and like giving you little snippets as you go. But so if you go to if you want to, anyone who's listening, Atomic Mass Games website, they have something called Shatterpoint, which is based upon the Mace Windu Force thing. And so there's probably about 15 articles that they've put out. There's a big wargaming, it's called Adepticon. There's a big wargaming convention that comes out, and that's actually where they're going to like live demo this game for the first time. So it's March, like mid-March, like right around spring break time for most people, is when they're going to be live demos. And I think after that, there's going to drop the game. So
this looks awesome, dude.
What other podcast can you get this in depth on painting and minifigs? I tell you, there's probably very few. I feel very proud of what level we take it to here.
This is Shatterpoint looks great.
I mean, I got to get my toys in before you start talking your toys. So
also, have y'all still did any of y'all ever get into the X-Wing miniatures game? I've not played it in years, but I played it for about 3 years straight, and it was incredible.
DDoc shaking his head. Yes.
Yes, it's that game is like incredible and it's addicting. And me and my brother were actually playing it twice a month over a dude's house. We were doing a campaign. Someone made a campaign where you could
nice.
they created like an AI format for it, basically, where you could like fight against like it had moves that it would
I
make.
saw that. I saw that at the time. Yeah, it was like following a system where
Yeah.
it kind of so you weren't necessarily just flying against each other constantly.
Yep. So we all were working as a team, and it was fun. I mean, it would take a couple hours. We would like drink some coffee, maybe some beers, and then that was it. And we would do it like twice a month. It was great.
I got real into the tournament scene back in the day, and one of my sparring partner actually ended up winning the Atlanta regional back in the day. It was like 150 people. They played for like 18 hours straight. They kind of screwed up the tournament a little bit.
So two things about this real quick. My sparring partners that I play, we have a pretty solid local convention. One of the dudes finished second at Gen Con this year and qualified to go to the Worlds. The other, last year Adepticon had 120 some people. The guy who finished second at Gen Con finished 8th at that Adepticon out of 128 people. And he also finished, the other guy that I play finished like 15th out of 128 people last year at Adepticon. So I'm playing against some pretty tough competition. So I lose all the time. So I'm like, I mean, like I'm their punching boy.
It's making you better. It's making you better.
If I can make them say, ooh, oh, then I've won. Like that's all I need is for them to be like, what do I do now? And that to me is like, that's my victory. So, but I've also seen it. To throw another miniature game onto it, I've seen a campaign where they have Armada, which is where you take the battleships, the big Carillion ships, and then you have like Home One, like you have your big Mon Calamari ships. You fly those around, and I've seen it. Whoever wins that, then they take it to the small dogfight game, which is X-Wing, and then you can win. You can set up a scenario. So you win that. Whoever wins that will get benefits for the land. So they like land from X-Wing. So you have like a 3, but like to do that campaign, you're going to be playing for about 8 hours for one day to do all that. Because each game's about 2.5 hours long.
But what a glorious day it will be.
Yes, exactly.
So Brent got us down this rabbit hole, and I haven't even got to introduce everybody. So you know what?
And DDoc showed up in the middle of that.
DDoc showed up in the middle. So I'll tell you what. Our special guest, who I said came on episode 4 and has been on 4 or 5 times now, and all the way from the Baton Rouge, Louisiana area. T Bob, so glad to have you back again, man.
Thank you very much. I love that I was on episode 4, so I was on the New Hope of Rule the Galaxy. I mean, let's go, dude. That's
You're our New Hope
movie ever.
You're our New Hope, right?
I am.
You were our first guest. Joey and I, you were our first guest.
Well, yes.
1, 2, and 3 were just he and I.
I had to defend the honor of The Last Jedi. As,
yes, you did.
It was still a time when it was being lambasted and besmirched, and
it was still a time
cast aside. Yeah, it was. No, it was a time.
It was.
Yes. Because now people have come to their good senses. They have seen just how awfully the bag was fumbled in 9 and recognize the now greatness of 8 with retrospect. Warts and all.
I love that we just have differing opinions because that's what makes it fun. That's good.
The delusion.
No, your opinions are wrong, and mine are right. And
I go away for a few moments, and we have these guys with delusions of grandeur over here.
That's right.
Okay. So, is it okay, boys? I don't want to force the show down any rabbit holes, but can we dive into Mando? Because I'm actually about to run my wife through the Boba Fett episodes to get her up to speed to watch. So we're going to be watching here in like 30, 40 minutes. I really want to chop up, man.
No. Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what, we will hit on some other things when we get cut up with this, so you can take off and do that. But yeah, first of all, hello, DDoc. Thank you for joining.
Yeah. What's up, DDoc?
Yeah,
look at DDoc's freaking set, dude. I mean,
dude, it's amazing.
The man's a father.
I just redid this.
Yeah.
He has he's just created a social media empire.
Yep.
DDoc, I don't know how you have the energy to do everything you do, but it blows my mind. You
I
are a
think it's
creative
ADD,
thought.
actually. I think it's ADD. I think that's got to be what it is.
And you know what's
That's-
funny, T Bob, is this guy was like, I don't know, I guess I'll come on your show an episode and we'll talk. And I don't know if I'll feel comfortable. I've not done this.
I was
and now all of
nervous
a
as
sudden,
hell.
now all of a sudden he's
What?
like,
Oh, yeah.
people are like, hey Joe, are you on that show with DDoc? Yeah, I am. I'm on the show with DDoc. Yeah.
So Alfie's talking to a couple of guys that he works with, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we know the redhead with the stash,
The
Yeah,
plumber
mustache.
guy. Yeah. Yeah.
the plumber guy, the redhead with the stash.
Yeah.
You know him?
Everybody's
Yeah.
TikTok plumber.
Well,
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
I was late. I was checking my email, and I'll keep this very short. But I was checking my email, and I actually had an email from Home and Garden, like magazine or something or website, and there's someone writing an article on like fixing your shower leaking, and she's like, "I want to get some quotes from you. I'm gonna share like a video and stuff." I'm like, "Holy shit! Someone's writing an article with me in it." She's like, "I need your full name and stuff." I'm like, "All right, Home and Garden magazine, let's go."
There you
This
go.
is like rule the galaxy with DDoc, everybody's plumber, man. Like
Yes.
he's just taking over the show, man.
Well,
It's
what I
okay.
love too is like Brent, me and you have connective tissue on certainly miniatures and painting, but then around Christmas time, I've been building up a little Snow Village platform train setup for a
Yes.
while
Oh,
now, but then
his
of
Christmas-
course
Yeah.
DDoc comes in and he's like, "Oh, look at this! I built a functioning city. It's got 2 parts, and
Every
here are the
year.
slums, and here's the capital." It's like multi-tiered.
District 1.
It's just absolutely ridiculous, dude. Just be good at one thing, Doc. How about that?
We're
Yeah.
actually
Just be good at
breaking
one.
we're breaking that down in 1 week, so it's still up right now. Actually,
Wow.
it runs for a while, so we're taking it down on the 8th. That's when it'll
Well,
start.
it's absolutely beautiful, dude.
Thanks.
Very impressive.
It is. Well, hey, T Bob, I'm going to let you take the lead with this one and run with it
Okay.
because we all have stuff, and we've got notes here from Alfie. He said, "Hey, talk about this, this, and this," since I can't be there. So, but let's start with you. Mando comes back after 2 years. Everybody's baby Grogu is back. We're all excited. Hit us, man. Hit us with the initial stuff on Mando.
I thought that this first episode, The Apostate, season 3, episode 1, was exactly what everybody needed, because it has been such a long gap, right? Since we've been in this universe, or with
Refresher.
these guys at least. I think it was exactly what everybody needed to remind us, not even as much of like the characters in the world, but why we love the Mandalorian show so much. This is a week-to-week, tightly edited adventure show, and it's fun and it's fantastic. And now they have found ways to, achieve depths of emotion that maybe Star Wars has never hit for me personally anywhere else. I mean, the end of season 2 is still the only Star Wars scene that will bring me to tears like instantly. So I'm not saying that it doesn't have heart and it doesn't have like more depth to it, but a lot of the fun are, since day one, Mando has felt like playing with toys, right? I mean, think about the first episode where you go out and you get Beskar, and then, oh, look, now he's got like a new piece of armor. Like he caught some like a legendary shoulder drop, right? And then he gets then eventually he gets a whole suit. Oh, look at this legendary spear that he got. And so the whole time it's always felt like you had your action figures out there and you're just messing around and like you're a kid again. And this is exactly what that episode felt like. I mean, a ton of badass looking Mandalorians. Obviously, I mean, I'm very intrigued to see how the armor is rebuilt the clan following what the last time that we saw her, but she's obviously rebuilt it, bigger numbers than I would have expected. We get attacked. I love a good giant creature, right? Whether it be the sandworm from the beginning of season 2, we get now like this giant badass alligator that they were getting absolutely wrecked by. I mean, they did not stand a chance had Mando not showed up. But then, of course, because we're playing with toys, Mando shows up in his super badass new hot rod spaceship,
which we
blows
need
it
out
up,
on toy shelves,
chunks.
by the way.
Yes, absolutely need that on toy shelves. Chunks rolling,
Lego.
just flying through the air. So look, I thought it was just so good for just being like, oh, I remember why I love this so much. It's just a fun adventure with characters. and in all different sorts of like settings. And so just like that, my very surface level thoughts are just the feel of this episode, the look, the action, the fun, seeing some old friends, how everybody's evolved. It was a perfect way to get everybody back into the flow of Mando, even if some people are like, well, they didn't advance the story or they repeated some stuff from the Boba Fett episodes.
It's been 2 years.
And yeah, exactly. It's been 2 years. So I love a good and one thing we've learned with Filoni and company is stuff that feels like filler at the time rarely actually is, right? Like there's always some sort of track being laid, and we'll learn what that track was in this episode exactly coming up. But I loved it, boys. It was just an absolute home run for me.
Good. DDoc or Brent, you want to follow up with that? Anything? Any key points or just overall thoughts? Go ahead, DDoc.
Muted for a second. Yeah, I mean, how badass was it when he shot that freaking alligator turtle thing, and then he pulls up and opens the freaking the cover, and then the freaking Mandalorian theme just hits, and you're just like, all right, we're back in it, like, because I know that they changed the composer for this show, because I think the regular composer is working on a movie, and I don't think
Ludwig Göransson is. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's incredible, dude. I've listened to the Mando soundtrack incessantly for the past couple of years.
Yeah. So I know they're probably recycling stuff he had, but the newer scores that they're adding is the guy who scored Book of Boba Fett. So
okay,
I didn't notice that difference. I was wondering if that was something I would notice. I know that's an odd thing to think, but I love movie scores. I listen to them all the time. Like that's like something I listen to the most. It's like a weird thing, but I always listen to them. And I thought I didn't notice that at all. And I mean, it just feels so good to be back with Mando. It's like, I don't know. It's like, he's like your little like Star Wars sleep. This show is like your Star Wars sleeping bag where you just feel comfortable in it. You're just like, I don't know. They just get everything about Star Wars, and like you said, even if I felt like there's a lot of stuff that happened that's going to introduce us to new stuff this season. We got freaking pirates. The visuals are like top tier as always for the Mandalorian. Like I have no complaints for VFX or whatever.
Movie visuals, they weren't TV visuals. I mean, we said that on like Kenobi. How many times you're like, looks like
so where did y'all land with Kenobi though? Because I feel like Kenobi, it's so tough to discern how much of that was pandemic related, right? I mean, it was made at the height of all that, and it's like, and now certainly you look at something like Boba Fett, and to me that was a stylistic choice. Robert Rodriguez seemed to me like he was going for like an old campy TV style, and while it was coherent or it had cohesion, it just missed the mark. For me personally, but Mando, like even the 2 episodes within Boba Fett didn't look like the rest of Boba Fett, right? Because they were directed by Rodriguez. They were very much in the Mando style, and the VFX are great. Those, and they're great once again here. DDoc is absolutely correct. Production values remain elite.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot to talk about with it, but I mean, I'll just say to start, like, it just feels great to be back in it and just know that we have 7 more episodes of stuff to happen. And I know they probably got some stuff up their sleeve, because to me, this is like #1 pinnacle Star Wars right now when it comes to everything. Like I enjoy, like I enjoy everything else we get, but this is like, this is the big leagues for everything. So I'm excited about it. It lived up to the hype and the wait for me. So I'm excited.
Brent, how about you?
I really don't have a lot to add.
Okay.
I will say, and this is me being the Lake
Contrarian
Placid alligator. The Lake Placid alligator was not well. When you say the visuals, I saw some pretty bad green screen stuff and some animation. I wasn't all that impressed with like the visuals of that fight. I loved the fight. Don't get me wrong, but I could see if I wanted to nitpick it, I can't because you guys are praising the hell out of it. But I'm gonna throw in there the little caveat. There was some on some of the effects during that fight scene. The fight scene was freaking amazing. Okay, let's go with that. If you're gonna be like, it's not something that's taken me out of it or anything like that, but I will say that I noticed some hiccups in the VFX for it.
Here's one question that I have though, and I'd love to see what y'all think. Why in the hell did they think that attaching tow cables to this thing was a good idea? Like they were just gonna like this thing's
they already
impervious to all weapons. They're like,
Right.
let's just lasso it.
Right,
Yeah,
so
but
they've already jumped on its back and slapped some detonators
Explosives,
onto it,
yeah.
and it didn't do anything. So let's throw a couple shots and little harpoons into
And we all
it.
know that gators they spin. That's one of
Yes.
their self-defense things, right? I mean,
That was
Yes.
one of the cool shots. So that was one of the cool shots in the entire fight was the spin and one of the Mandalorians just getting like launched over the top.
I love the tail swap. I love the guy hitting the home run up against the rock because it swung its tail.
I thought for sure we were going to get a Boba Fett call out and we were going to get an out of control jetpack. Like I thought it was going to be like Return of the Jedi, but you know, alas, it did not work out that way.
So I mean, let's face it, guys. How spoiled are we that Mandalorians are kind of like hidden? One of the favorite things in Star Wars, right? Like people are like, ooh, they get all worked up about Mandalorians in general. And here we are starting opening scene. You got all these Mandos going through a ritual to bring a foundling right into the fold. And we're like, we just go, oh, that's cool. We got all these Mandalorians. And we're thinking, how long ago was it when we thought we'd never have anything like this? And it's kind of like the norm now is to think, oh, we just got a bunch of badass Mandalorians hanging around. So that was cool into a battle scene, but I'll throw in a few things that stuck out to me. One, when the armorer starts off the show by making the little helmet, was it just me who thought it was for Baby Grow to start until we saw the size of it and what was going on? I thought, are we starting off right now with getting the Baby Grogu helmet to start? And then I was like, oh, no, we're not. But that's the first thing that kind of derailed me because I thought that's the way we were going.
Well, I think it's foreshadowing that, though. I mean, the idea of the Yoda-Lorian has been. I think we got to talk about it. Season 1, Mando.
I think you're the one that you're one of the first ones that I heard that says by the end of season 2 he was going to be in Mandalorian armor.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that I
and he's got chainmail right now. Yeah,
he's getting there, dude. Slowly but surely. Did y'all go ahead? Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was gonna say. Alfie's always talking about it. You know, Andor, the thing that drew him out of Andor was the lack of the fighting, the lack of the actual Star Wars, right? Fun and shooting and action scenes. And he was like, it was slow paced in Andor. Here we go right into it. We got creatures, we got gunfights, we got a ship coming in and blowing it up. He's like, right from the get go, right? That's what you want in a show like this. So,
but that's why I think we live in blessed times, though, because to me, Andor was just one of my favorite TV shows I've ever watched, like even removed from a Star Wars setting. But it did feel very good after the darkness of Andor to get back. Like I love that we live in a world where we can actually have both. We can have this serious, not really almost Star Wars feeling show that's just like a great, tense heist or whatever you want to call it, and then you still have Mando where it very much feels like you're a kid again.
I agree
with
that. The next thing that kind of grabbed me was how they're wrapping things together, and the wrapping things together, seeing the Purgles in the hyperspace lane, and it kind of scaring maybe or making Baby Yoda a little bit awkward on it, but I'm going, all right, we're drawing back to Rebels. We're drawing back to Ezra.
The whales?
They were in
they're in hyperspace. Grogu's
I gotta go back and watch
Purgles, man.
I knew we weren't gonna get it like in this opening episode, but I'll be damned if I wasn't hoping to just get a glimpse of Ezra or like a silhouette riding one of the whales.
Oh, yes. No, but I mean, right there, I was like, okay, now we're taking Rebels. We're taking Ezra. We're taking Thrawn. We're taking the Purgles. We're putting them with Mando. I mean, it was just like, oh, they are going to bring this together. Alfie said it's the Avengers of Star Wars with the Ahsoka, the Skeleton Crew, Mando, all that. And maybe they are. Maybe it's all coming
Babu
together.
Frick.
Like
I don't know if any of those
Frick,
guys was actually Bob. Was any of them actually Babu Frick? Do we know that?
Because he said it was the family. He said it was the family of droid. He said it was the family of droid operators. And so I think there was more than one Frick. I don't know if it was actually Babu, but it's the definite species. There's no doubt about that.
The Frick clan.
I just love their little, because I love miniatures like you, Brent, and I love their tiny little house. Like
Oh,
their
it's
tiny
great.
little house is just so great.
When he's in there,
And he's sitting there in
Yeah.
there, just like he looked like
Cross out the
Gandalf,
claws.
and
Yeah.
he
He's like,
looked
"Where
like
they at?"
Gandalf in Bilbo's house.
He's like, so where are these droid people? Where am I supposed to find it? And he points down to that door, little mouse door.
Also, like
go
you
ahead.
gotta love Mando comedic relief. Grogu just
Oh,
hugging one.
yes.
Maybe going to eat one. Like if we take Grogu's past actions as indicator of future results, like that guy could have actually been in danger potentially, or maybe he was just giving him a hug. I don't know.
And then he's sitting there, bad baby, bad baby. I love it. Look, if Disney's doing one thing right, they are selling the hell out of the cuteness of Grogu. Correct? I mean,
Yes.
like any kid who's gonna watch this and see Grogu go through those scenes is gonna be like, yes. First, he takes an M&M or whatever off Grief Karga's desk and spinning the chair on his own using the Force.
Yeah, he just
And,
was.
yeah, just spinning the chair, right? I mean, hilarious. But
Also, the puppet work on Grogu just continues to astound. All the practical, I'm a huge fan of practical effects. All the mask work on the pirates was awesome. Of course, the animatronic, the little puppet work on the little droid operators. But like you can, because of course they did. Grogu is a pop cultural phenomenon. But they have really advanced the puppetry. You can tell in the last 2 years. I felt.
Have you
Really
guys ever
nice.
seen how they control like the Babu Freak like guys? Because those
No,
guys
uh-uh.
are
aren't they
those
like
guys are
marionettes?
they'll have like 3 or 4 people controlling one of them. So like if you watch the behind the scenes of Rise of Skywalker, like they have this little guy sitting there, and then they have like 4 people in the full Green Man suits, like from Always Sunny, basically, just holding these little poles, and they all have like little things. So like one person's controlling the legs, and you got all these people's arms moving around in unison with each other. It's like, it's amazing how they control those. So that's definitely something to go watch. Just look up like Babu Frick behind the scenes, and the way that that's like amazing stuff. That is like glorious practical effects for Star Wars. And I
Yes.
agree. I love that stuff. That's what feels like Star Wars when it is those practical effects.
So
Can I
go ahead?
Can I ask
Brent.
a question real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is brought to me from one of my coworkers, and I think it's a poignant question to ask. Why can't we just go to Mandalore? Like they talk about it. It's like there's like the Imperial. Like I was talking about it. It's almost like District 13 from the Hunger Games.
You know what it feels like?
Anticipation.
It's like we can't go there. Like why can't
Does
you? Like,
anybody,
what's stopping people from flying there? What
It's
like
Star
what
Wars
is?
foreplay.
Does anybody care about like Warhammer 40K lore? Because like in 40K, they will sometimes drop like virus bombs on planets, or it's like they because well, this episode though they did talk about it being poisonous, right? So so it's almost like, to me it was like the Star Wars equivalent of nuclear fallout, right? Where
But how do they know? But how
or
do they
East
know?
Palatine, Ohio. Either
But no
one.
yeah, too real.
Oh, sorry.
Too soon. but like, how do they know? Because essentially no one's been there. Like it's
if I just wanted to connect the headcanon dots, I'm just assuming that in the interim, maybe like right afterwards, some people tried and got killed, or like never came back or something. Like
so it's like
it's
like folklore Bermuda Triangle. So just never go into it. Like whoever goes there never doesn't return.
I can go.
Or maybe enough people disappeared where they kind of gave up on it and they were like, it's done. And then now maybe it's not done.
Right, and they disappeared because they found out it wasn't that bad, and they decided to live on it, and no one's going to bother them like they did in District 13 in the Hunger Games.
We could get that. I mean, right? Who knows what we will find when we eventually hit Mandalore?
I don't know. I also didn't like a depressed Bo-Katan. Like I get it, but I also wasn't really a fan of like she was in the dumps.
Well, yeah.
Well.
I mean, she's got to be. She's lost her saber. She's lost her people. She lost her planet. She lost her sister. I mean, come on.
And he had
a time.
He had to walk.
That's a good point.
He had to walk an awful long way. Like he couldn't have just shouted from about 200 feet. Hey!
That would have been like Michael Keaton and Kim Basinger in Batman when they were sitting at that long table. They couldn't hear each other having dinner.
that is one thing. No, that's excellent. That's one thing though that I'm really interested to see is one of the bigger reveals to me over the first couple of seasons of Mando, and if you go back and rewatch it from the beginning, I think it kind of changes some things, how you think about things, is that Mando is essentially a devotee of a like religious zealot sect, right? Like a subsect of fanatics. And it's interesting to me that he is still like wholly devoted to that sect. And I wonder, will Bo-Katan and others in his journey back to Mandalore, like, will he learn maybe that his way is maybe not the actual way, right? Because how long can you continue to hide Pedro Pascal under that bushel, dude? I mean, he's just so beautiful and excellent, dude. So I don't know. I could see Bo-Katan and the armor kind of becoming not like an angel and devil, but the two warring kind of forces for Mando's allegiance. Like, which way will he go?
I think you keep him hidden for a long time because he's not what's selling this show. That mask and that green thing are what are selling the show.
And he probably was still filming The Last of Us while some of this was being filmed, so he probably couldn't be under that helmet.
Speaking of, did anybody watching that one too? Like, we don't have to do an after dark on that.
No, but I'm getting ready to start it.
I feel like you're watching it.
I've watched 3 episodes and I need to catch up. That's like I've just had like some crazy stuff the last couple of weeks. So my wife bailed after the second episode, so she's like, "This is too scary."
Oh, dude, 3 was incredible, dude.
Yeah, I know. I was
like, the Nick Offerman. Oh, that was a fantastic episode. It hits you right in the feels. Also,
yes.
So we real quick.
Did you guys play the game?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Sorry to sidetrack. Go ahead, Joe.
No,
Bring
you're fine. No. I want to make sure we get all of DDoc and some of all of T Bob's and some of Alfie's things in. So I want to High Magistrate Grief Karga. Come on, everybody loves that guy. I mean, I don't care what show he's been in the past, whether he's Chubbs or Apollo or whatever he's doing. The guy is just super cool, and he plays the role very well. He's really spruced up that town. I mean,
Navarro is killing it, dude. Oh my god!
So again, another good refresher to see what's happened over the past few years in Navarro. So
I like how he makes everybody call him High Magistrate. He wouldn't let him. He correct every time. He made sure he said High Magistrate. That was awesome.
The couple things that again, more playing catch up. The IG-11 again, taking him back to the Babu Freaks. And taking part of the statue to, and his parts to remake that. I thought that was really cool. And I thought it was a fun little scene, which kids will love, where that half of a body is chasing them around on the ground.
He was like, that's creepy.
Yeah. But I thought they did a great job, again, playing catch up with the Cara Dune, because they could have said nothing. They could have just kind of hid it under a bushel. They said, nope, we're going to go ahead and talk about it so we can have it out there so people can know what's going on. And I thought they handled it very well. I thought if they're going to talk about it, go ahead and have something that means something. She's doing something else. It got to where we can say, okay, now let's move on with the story instead of constantly making that part of something we have to talk about.
Well, and it does open up the, like in any classic warrior story, it's almost like Gladiator or something, right? You don't need it, but I think it appeals to a lot of people, the idea of like, when your quest is done, you can retire to the homeland and hang up your weapons and farm the lands and live with your family. So like he now actually has that soft landing spot, and they could use it a lot of different ways. They could remain that kind of apple on the carrot on the end of the stick, or it could be like an emotional exploit that somebody uses against him, right? Because if somebody does something to Navarro, like Mando's going to be pissed. I just love the feel of Navarro too. It had almost a thriving Renaissance medieval sort of feel to it, and it was just, and like honestly, that's some of my favorite parts of Star Wars is when you get a fantasy feeling kind of wrapped up in sci-fi trappings.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like that small town where like everybody's kind of pulling their weight, and you got like, and he's also walking around and making sure he has that title. But at the same time, like, even though he's dressed to impress and he's got the little droids carrying his cape, he can still pull out his gun and freaking gun smoke. That's for Alfie. Yeah. The gun smoke needs to be pulled out. He can still freaking gun smoke you, like, no problem. He shot that pistol right out of that guy's hand. Like, so he might look pretty, but he still has that inside of him to, show don't F with me, which people still definitely are, I think.
Him and Mando, dude, looked just so cool and intimidating. Mando kind of leaned up against the tree.
Yes.
And
That was sick. It was sick.
he basically saying, "Okay, you think I've gone soft?" And then he pulls back that, that just crazy decorative robe, and there it is, still on his hip. Like, okay, try me then.
I mean, that's Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett, and Jabba's palace.
Leaning on the
Oh yes, it is. Oh my god, it like absolutely is, Brent. That's a really good call. I got a random question. So the heavy that Jon Favreau does the voice of is Paz Vizsla, right?
Yes.
What is his relationship with that family? Because there were a lot of like very in your face shots of like really like, look at this. He seems to like even to the point where at one point all the Mandos are lined up and every other one is facing off in the horizon, and he is the only Mandalorian looking directly at the kid.
I think
so.
I
wonder what that is there.
Didn't Alfie mention that in our chat?
Yeah.
Did he say he thinks it's his kid?
And he said it was the kid that was in the book. He played the Tusken in the Book of Boba Fett, so it's the same character who played the kid from Book of Boba Fett. And that he was wondering if it's Paz's kid.
It looks like it could be. If it's not Paz's kid, he seems to have some sort of connection a la Mando Grogu with him. Like maybe he found him or something. What do you think, DDoc?
So if Mandalorians are having kids, do they keep the helmet on when they're,
Yeah, I mean, yes, of course.
You have to keep it on.
Yeah.
You mean
you can't kiss your wife?
Howard Stern did a whole thing with the Mandalorian. They talked about taking it off.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
No, dude, I haven't watched that video yet. His Howard Stern ones are so.
I subconsciously said that because I watched it. It's funny. That's great.
No, I view them like old repressed Victorian Englishmen, where like they're just unzipping their pants and it's like just a hole in the armor. Like that's it. Like nothing else is coming off. It's all very. There's not a lot of emotion. It's all very mechanical, right?
Yes.
It is to grow the clan, and that is it. We are not here to enjoy this.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I took that there, so I take responsibility for
No,
it. But I
no,
just thought about it.
No, but the question is, absolutely they have to. I mean, look at the armor, dude.
Yeah.
He blows up Lake Placid to save the day, and she's like, "Get out of here." She's like, "What are you doing here? You're disgraced."
Right. You're not one of us. Get out of here so you can become.
No, I agree. Hey, real quick, what do we think about what's his name? King Gorian Shard looking like a freaking fern. What are we doing here? What's going on with that?
I kind of loved it, dude. What did you think?
I thought it bothered me, but it was weird.
He looked like the pirates from
Davy
the
Jones.
pirate.
Oh,
yes. That was what I was. He looked like it wasn't Davy Jones. He looked like one of the guys that was one of the seaweeds underneath the water with Davy Jones. That was what my brain. I was like, who is this like weird dead pirate from under the water?
But what it does, so I agree that like the foliage kind of skin is an odd choice, but from a silhouette, and this is really all the pirate silhouettes, it screams pirate captain. Like his kind of swaggering, sways when he moves and everything.
Sure. I also thought Grievous. There's something about him, the way that he was walking, that reminded me of Grievous. Like when he got up out of the chair, there was a Grievous quality to it when he was walking. Like
absolutely. Well, he had that hunched over predatory, almost like And then whoever the pirate is that got blown up in the awesome dogfighting in the asteroid space scene, his look was great with that kind of pirate coat, that like duster and the high collar and everything. The wardrobe choices again are just fantastic on this show.
They went really in on the pirates, like looking like pirates, even though they were aliens on a desert kind of planet. I mean,
you know why? Like pirates are cool as fuck.
They are.
We get pirates.
Mando's pirates were all over, man.
But Mando could fly that ship.
Yeah.
That was like my big takeaway was dude hid in the crevasse of a few of the asteroids and came around. like the way that he manipulated and moved that Naboo fighter was amazing. And it's like he's only had this thing. I know time passes. We got time slippage, Nick. I know Nick Shesky, if you're listening to this, time slippage works in. But like he's only had it for a relatively short amount of time, but that dude is flying it like he's an experienced jet fighter.
But Mando's always had good flight skills. I mean, he was whipping that Razor Crest around and winning some dog fights, and that's like winning in a minivan.
Yeah,
Vin Diesel in a Toyota Sienna.
Man, I need a graphic for that. Can you work on that, DDoc, to have?
Oh, easily. Yeah.
I actually bought a few years ago. I bought an all blacked out minivan, and it feels like the Razor Crest. Like it legitimately.
Nice.
I did feel bad for Mando though, because back in the Razor Crest, you know, he could hit autopilot. He had a bed.
Oh
He
yeah,
had a whole room. Now he's just like he's asleep in his Porsche Boxster. Just asleep in the front seat.
Yep.
Now I will
So
say this:
uncomfortable.
one of the things that Joey, because I was with Joey last night, and of course with Joey and telling him I was going to be on with T Bob tonight, he said, "Hey, we need to plan to where we all go down to Baton Rouge to an LSU game. Let's get with T Bob." I said,
Yes.
"I'll mention it on the show, so it's got public record, Joey. We'll get it going."
Yes, dude.
He said not to let you have sake though the next time we go down there. Just to let you know.
I have a so it's funny, we're kind of laughing because like they came down and I treated them to South Louisiana cuisine, right? When you think of South Louisiana, you think of sake and Asian fusion. So I know. Yes, no, I see your bread face. No, it's a ridiculous thing to take you to. But whenever I'm having a dinner with a group of people that are kind of meeting for the first time, you know, it's like a new social situation.
Sure.
I have this almost fake movie scene in my head where everybody's a little nervous at first, and the first bottle of sake comes out, you have your first round of cheers, and then you hit a montage, and everybody's just continuously drinking sake, and then like the music's going, and then like ties are getting loose, they're like around the head, you have your arm around the guy, you're like singing together. So I was trying to channel that, and it seemed to work.
The waiter's doing sake shots with you too, and you know everyone's having a good time.
T Bob, why do I feel this movie has played out several times in your life?
Yeah, and every time it ends badly for me. Every time it ends badly for me. Dude.
This is a movie that you've put in and hit, like you've wore out the tape and hit rewind several times to get back to that
Star
spot.
Wars.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Okay, I promise to take y'all to some more traditional Louisiana cuisine.
You gotta have some Cajun. You gotta get some Cajun.
Oh, we got plenty, dude. We got plenty.
Yeah. But so we mentioned that it ends up running into Bo-Katan, going to her and saying, "Hey, I'm going to go." First, she wanted to know, do you still have the saber? That's what her first concern was.
Yes.
But two, him saying, "Hey, I'm going back. I'm going to see what's there. I've got to go. What is it? Bathe in the waters,
the mines. They keep saying the mines. Yeah, the waters underneath the mines.
Yeah. So I look.
The soothing waters of Lake Minnetonka.
You talked about, you know, you and Brent were saying.
I'm sorry, I think of it every time.
That's what I said last night.
Why are we not going back there? I mean, look, for 2 seasons now, we've talked about getting to Mandalore, right? Here it is finally. They're like getting you right on edge. We're gonna go back. We're going.
He stops at a moon planet that's just short of the actual Mandalore. We're gonna stop by this island planet of the Mandalorian system. Like, no, just go to Mandalore.
He knew Bo-Katan was there.
Just go to
Mandalore. Talk to Bo about it.
Look, you gotta bathe.
He's trying to recruit.
Waters.
He's trying to get a little squad, dude. He's got IG trying to get back, which means get Taika Waititi's voice back, which makes you very excited.
Well, you know that she's gonna follow his ass. Like, you know that he's like she's. I think he
wants her to. I think he wants her to. Right?
Do you think she was playing him though? Because I know that she was down and depressed, but do you think she's playing him to try to bait him into going to the soothing waters?
She's got to beat his ass, right?
Yeah.
She's got to beat his ass eventually to get the darksaber back.
Yeah, she's got to take it from him.
Yeah, they're gonna team up. It's gonna be great. I can't wait.
So Brent and I'm about to unfortunately, y'all, God, I love this so much fun every time we do it. I am about to have to go, but so Brent was talking about, you know, how do we know that people haven't gone there and just stayed because it's awesome? You're talking about Lake Minnetonka. They're going to get there and it's going to be Dave Chappelle as Rick James just hanging out in Mandalore. Welcome, Grogu. We've been waiting on you.
Oh,
Would anybody like any pancakes? and them to
oh gosh.
Mando and Grogu. There.
Oh my god, that would be incredible.
I
You
could
could
use
throw
some
Bill
Dave
Burr in
Chappelle.
there too. You could throw Bill Burr in.
Yeah,
you know,
why
he's
not?
part of the
Hell
show
yes.
as well. You know,
You know, we had the Snoop Dogg and Mandalorian gear a while back. I mean, put Snoop Dogg, Chappelle. Let's go all out. Let's make it fun. They show up and there's all kinds of stuff going on. I'm all for it. So,
love it.
T Bob, I know you got to run. Thank you for running.
I love you,
or coming and
boys.
doing
This is like
hey,
so much fun, dude. Every single time. We got to do it more during this season of Mando because
yes.
I don't think I'm able to do my own Mando podcast anymore. So I need to get these. I need to get these takes off. So,
I will send you a constant invite, and when you're free, you just let me know, and I'll make sure that the crew knows you're coming. So
hell yes, Joe, Brent, DDoc, it was awesome, man. Nick, Alfie, missed y'all certainly, but I hope y'all have an awesome night, and I cannot wait until next Wednesday. Let's go, boys.
you got it. Thanks, T Bob.
All right, T
Lady, y'all.
See ya. Real quick before we hop into Bad Batch.
The energy, I just
I
felt the
know.
energy drop
It's-
about 5 levels.
Take
He
deep
brings it.
breath.
T-Bob always
yeah.
brings it.
He does. So I've been after my little personal golden ring in Star Wars for a while. So a long time ago, I got the Mara Jade. This is the vintage from 1990. I don't even know what. But yeah, I have such bad eyes I can't even read it. But the old Mara Jade, nice 3 3/4 from Hasbro. I love it, right? I've always wanted to see if they make a 6-inch from Heir to the Empire, the Zahn trilogy. Well, they were kind enough a few years ago to make the Mark Hamill or Luke Skywalker version, which yes, I've already taken out of the box, the 6-inch in the case, but you couldn't really see him in the case. So I said I have to release this dude. He's even got this Silamari, is that's how you say it, right? Around his neck here. So love that. That's one of my favorite Lukes of all time right there. And then, yes, boys, just the other day, it shows up. Mara Jade, 6-inch, Dark Force Rising. Instead of being able to see the plastic, yes, it's even a cardboard cover, but it's a badass figure.
So stupid.
It's-
But it looks the art is cool. But like to open it and reveal another picture of it, oh my god.
She was like a mummy. I showed you guys a picture. She was wrapped in paper inside of it. It looked like a corpse in a mummy kind of set. But I mean, she's just awesome. Mara Jade, one of my favorite characters of all time. And since we've gotten to meet Timothy Zahn, I mean, and Heir to the Empire and Dark Force Rising and Last Command, they were big moments in my Star Wars life back in 1991, 92, and 93. I was just so pumped that showed up and from my order, and now I have the 6-inch Luke, the 6-inch Mara. Now we just need to have them show up in some series in the future. And speaking of that, I don't know if you guys saw this article or not, but the rumor behind the scenes is there's some thinking of making, now that we have a de-aged Luke, a de-aged Leia from Rise of Resistance, and a de-aged Harrison Ford in the upcoming Indiana Jones movie, that they might do some short movies on Disney Plus of the original 3. Just saying. I think it'd bring the fans in. I don't know. I think their de-aging looks fine to me, so I would take it. But any thoughts from you guys on Mara Jade or possible short movies on Disney of those original 3?
Do you want to go first, Brent? I think
I've already seen Brent huffing and puffing. So
yeah.
It's not a huff and a puff. It's just a money grab. That's all. Like,
so is Baby Grogu.
no, because Grogu didn't start off as a money grab. Now, like, it becomes a money grab if you start throwing Grogu into, like, I don't know, Ahsoka, and it becomes a money grab if he pops up in other things. I don't know. Like, I feel like it's a money grab. I don't. The de-age stuff. Just make it animated.
Would you
just make?
Would you not agree though? And we've got T Bob off here before we go into the Bad Batch. The one thing missing, I will live with the rest of the sequel trilogy. I'll watch it. I'll live with it. I'll accept it. It is what it is. But the one major thing missing was not one scene, one moment with those three talking about something or interacting about something. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you make some short thing in between where they're de-aged, maybe explain some things leading to it, I think it would solve a lot of problems for a lot of people. So
Yeah, I didn't see a problem with it. So like I know, like Ryfan's probably rolling his eyes behind his sunglasses. But like
Lawson
that
has
was
the sunglasses.
right. Oh, sorry, not Ryfan. Ryfan's probably doing the same thing, but he's pedaling his bike a little bit faster when he's
There we
listening
go.
to it. And Glawson's rolling his eyes behind his sunglasses. But like I don't like, to me that wasn't even a thought as I was watching it.
Okay.
I didn't need that scene. I don't think that was just me. I honestly was okay with the way that they handled the fact that there were differences between each, and they kind of killed one off each episode. I'm fine with them killing one off because it's ceremonial. It was the ceremony changing of the guard. So do I want to see stuff like that? Sure, just make it animated. Don't stop with this like de-age crap, because the Leia like from Rogue One was awful. The Leia from the Rise of Skywalker in the training scenes was not very good. Luke, I mean, it was very slow. It was in the Mandalorian season 2 and episode 6, 5, and 6 when he was when it was Luke's face on screen. Yeah, it looked like him, but I could tell it wasn't, right? And like if you're gonna do that with Han,
They've already done it on Indiana Jones coming out this June.
Sure, okay. To me, it's like
okay.
I think it's an excessive, like I always used to call it gratuitous use of CGI. So back in like the mid 90s to the early 2000s, when CGI was brand new, right after the Jurassic Parks, everybody would put CGI in, and you could just tell that it was not very well done, but they wanted to put it in to make it look cool and to have the special effect. And it was a gratuitous use of CGI to make people say, "Ooh, look at that special effect." And I feel like at this point, the face thing is that it's just a gratuitous use of CGI. You can tell that it's de-aged. Everyone will know that it's de-aged, and I'm just not gonna I'm not gonna buy it. Give me the bounty hunter and Ord Mantell scene, but give it to me in animation.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a valid point.
Like some CGI doesn't age well, like, which it's funny because like when I was in theaters for Rogue One, like even for the Moff Tarkin CGI, they did him and they did Leia. Like when I saw it in theaters, I thought it was excellent. Like I thought it was great. I'm like, that looks so real just because you're in the theaters, you're in the moment. Like, I don't know. I thought like when I saw Leia's face in theaters, I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe they just did that. Then when you rewatch it, then I pay attention to it. It's not really them. But this is something that, like, if they do it and it doesn't work out, I'll give them a free pass on it because I think it would be pretty freaking fun to have a Han and Chewie interaction again. Like I don't know. It would be cool to see the original crew back together. I mean, it was obvious when you have three main actors of a classic movie, an all-time movie, when they're all on the set around each other, to not put them in the scene together. That was the right thing to do for the new sequel trilogy. It's stupid they never did that. I'm being sarcastic, obviously, but
I don't think they were on the set together though.
If you watch behind the scenes stuff, Mark Hamill is around stuff all the time. Okay. Like he was at Rise of Skywalker filming like the whole time. Like he was in the room when they were testing out Babu Frick, and he's sitting there like talking to him. Like he was around for a lot of stuff, which I think he's around for a lot of like Mandalorian stuff too. But I don't know. Even if they just did it in the first movie at the end, like that would have been a hell of a way to end it. But I did want to, like, off of that point, I did want to mention for Black Series, this is my short little Black Series thing. I'm going to try to turn my little webcam here. I have my little, this was a beer glass shelf. It was the first ever woodworking project I ever made. And it fit Guinness glasses were on the taller rows, and then it was pint glasses for the other ones. And I'm like, you know what? I can fit my Black Series on here. So now I have that set up. As you can see, I unboxed oh my God, his name is
Jackson.
Jackson. I unboxed
Yeah.
Jackson.
Yep.
Which, like, those boxes, those are the ones I can kind of live with, like, not having the window on it, just because you can put that display behind them, you know,
Correct.
with that front cover, which is the front cover is always awesome
Mhm.
on that. I just wish they would negotiate just a little window into these. Just a little. I
Maybe a
think they're
headshot.
noticed.
How about that? How about
Yeah.
a headshot window?
It's gonna happen. That's my prediction with what's going on with it. They are going to bring the window back. Collectors are not happy. You go look at all the comments on Hasbro Pulse and everything. Collectors aren't happy with Hasbro right now. People are trashing them constantly. There's no way they don't see it.
Follow the money.
Hasbro has gotten bad publicity from all levels. They had an issue with Dungeons and Dragons. They have an issue with because they're part of the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. They have an issue with the Magic the Gathering, like because they're part of Magic the Gathering, and they like so Hasbro is like a huge mega corporation, and I don't think they care about what the fans say.
And I unboxed my first ever Black Series that I ever got, which was oh my god, a Death Trooper.
Death Trooper. Yeah.
He was the first one I ever bought. It was when I was a listener to your podcast, and I said, "What are these Black Series figures? Let me go find one of these." And I was at a wedding in upstate New York, and my wife was in the wedding party, and I had about 3 hours to kill before it. And I looked up a Target in the area, and I went and found one of my favorite troopers that exists. And
gosh.
finally
Memories.
unboxed it. I'm like, you know what? I really love the way they look on this shelf, so I might start unboxing all of mine. I don't know. I told my wife that the other day. I said, I think I'm going to start unboxing all of my Black Series. I'm like, I love how they look on this shelf here. And she's like, why would you do that? I'm like, I'm never going to sell them. Like, I really don't think I am. If anything, I'm just going to pass them down to my son.
Yeah.
When, like, however many years from now. So I don't know. I think I'm going to start unboxing.
By the way, his reaction to your Rex helmet was amazing because he was way more excited to it than I think you were when you opened it up. It was awesome. I loved it.
Well, he was mad because it said it was addressed to David for the birthday. And I'm February 3rd. He's February 17th. So he thought it was a birthday gift for him.
Oh.
So I'm opening it up. He's like, I think it's for me. I'm like, I promise it's not for you. This is for me. Back off.
Well, you guys will have plenty of time in the next few weeks to talk. We'll have plenty of time to talk about Star Wars toys and other collectibles, everything else, because next week we're going to have Jim and Matt from ECPC TV, who we met at the ICC Con. The following week after that, Mr. Ryan McGee from ESPN and the SEC Network will be back with us. And a few weeks after that, we'll have the man himself, Michael Havens, who runs the ICC Con. And I guarantee you, with him having his own toy store in Tennessee, there's going to be plenty of talk going on with toys. So I'm excited about that. But
did you see that they got McDermott again?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so McDermott's coming back. And then they're gonna drop another one. They drop one, it seems like every Friday.
He's dropped one, but
or every couple Fridays.
We will have him when he's done releasing, or he's gonna just release the final list the day before we have him.
Ooh,
so then he'll be able to talk through the entire list when we have him. I think March 30th, we're gonna have him. So the Wednesday before that, he'll be releasing the full list of guests and things like that. So love it when Michael's on. He's similar to T Bob in the energy level, maybe not in the same cursing level, but definitely in the energy level. So, but anyway, hey, we had a whole nother thing on Wednesday. Bad Batch, season 2, episode 11, Metamorphosis, and I'll be the first one to say, this is kind of what I want Bad Batch to be. I mean, they were Bad Batchery. They, if you're not familiar with the Zillo Beast from Clone Wars, you had some definite Stranger Things feel and horror kind of background stuff on it. You had that going on. Oh, and then, let's just put in Mount Tantus and Wayland again, and scientists and Kaminoans and cloning and clone commandos all in one episode. I like that kind of stuff. That's what I want to see. It was fun. There was action. It was tons better than the ones where they were just meeting people that we didn't know they needed to meet, sitting on that place waiting for somebody to come pick them up. But I really like this episode. I thought, what do I have here? Oh, I love that we finally get them to say that Omega is the clone that they want to get, and that Nala say all she's concerned about is protecting Omega. I thought that was really cool. Brent was kind of not into the Bad Batch on that comment. DDoc sometimes nodding his head there. I'll let you guys run with it. I really like the episode. I want the remaining 4 or 5 episodes to be like this. This is what I want out of Bad Batch.
I'll let Brent go first again.
Really? I mean, okay. So
I love watching your face when Joe is talking, because I'll see you go, no, like I don't know. I'm always like, I want to hear what Brent has to say.
So my thing, like, and this is coming from the Bad Batch, and Star Wars fandom, us, and then the social media crew that you hear talking. And the people, because we're in different social media forums, we all look and read different things on social media. You guys are Twitterverse. I go to the Facebook route. I know Alfie is into like the Reddit.
Everything.
Alfie's in the trenches.
I mean,
deep. He already knows what happens next week on Mando. Come on.
Yeah, because because they release it to people and they expect people to not release it out anyways. So, what I start to think about is when you talk about what good episode versus a bad episode of the Bad Batch, people want to be pulled in by whatever they feel to be nostalgic. They want to have some sort of nostalgic tie. And if it doesn't have that nostalgic tie, then they think it's not Star Wars, or they think that it's not good Star Wars. So Andor didn't have a lot of nostalgic tie.
I liked it
to some people. There's a lot of like skepticism, and there's a lot of not like the pace. I think when episodes come out, the people aren't necessarily as attached to it because it's newer and they don't have that nostalgic tie. Episodes that we've liked, the Geonosis Vietnam Wall, there's a tie there. Like the whole thing, you got to see not just Rex. Who was it? Was fighting? It was Cody, right?
Yep.
You got to see Cody.
Crosshair.
Nostalgic tie with Crosshair. Like you get to see those nostalgic pieces, right? So another episode. You see the TK troopers. You see the transitioning over. You see this episode. You got Mount Wayland or whatever, Mount Tantif, and you got Wayland. You got the Kaminoans. You have the Zillow Beast. So the people that are really digging Clone Wars are like, oh my God, they finally put something that I attach to in. At the very end of the episode, they say, send this information to Rex and Echo, see what they can figure out. So you bring back in Rex and Echo. That was another one of the episodes earlier in the season that everybody really liked because you had said Rex come back, right? Like you had the senator that was in the Clone Wars come back when they were talking about, you had the Emperor come up. So there were things that cameos, but there's some sort of nostalgic tie. And what I get into, what I hear is that if it doesn't have that, then it's an episode. But if it has that, then it's an amazing episode.
Well, I'll tell you what.
And it's not just you. It's not just you. I mean, it is the social media boards that I read, and that's what I come up with.
Well, I will say this. I could have cared less. I could not have cared less if there was nostalgia or anything in the previous episode. The previous episode, you could have thrown things in there tying to stuff. That was just a boring, slow episode. I mean, there wasn't anything that drew me into it. And I'm a big Star Wars fan that you guys know me. I'm over here with unicorns and rainbows, and I'm happy about everything. But it was like, it was boring. This one, you didn't have to tie everything in, but I like the action, and I like the music played suspenseful. So if I'm thinking there's a kid watching this, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, what's going on? There's a monster, whatever. I just like it to have something to draw you in. Yeah, I mean, Rex wasn't in it. They mentioned his name, but I mean, I don't know if it had made it better or worse with Rex in there. But I get what you're saying. I just think there's a lot of different things that draw people in besides just nostalgia. I mean, I liked the episode. And I like the Gunji episode. I mean, you say it's nostalgia, but I mean, I saw him for what, 2 episodes in the Clone Wars 10 years ago. I mean, it doesn't always have to be nostalgia. I mean, it could be a lot of other things to draw them in, but there was action, there was fighting, there was tying other things together. I mean, look, it was tying Wayland in, which I guess we could say is nostalgia now because
It is. Absolutely it is.
But
It
I mean,
absolutely is.
but it's also a good story. I mean, there's something about having the reason Star Wars is the way it is, and the reason Star Wars isn't Star Trek is because all these things have always thought about tying everything in together. That's just like when I said in Mando, you had the Purgle because it ties it in to Rebels and it ties it into where Ezra and Thrawn are. So I'm off that. I'm sorry, Brent. I like your opinions. I think it's good.
And I'm okay with it. And this was not a shot at you, even though, like, you, as you were talking, like, it might have come across as a shot. This is not a shot. It just, I get tired of the filler comment or this is a great episode or that's a great episode. And what makes this one so much different than that one? And it's the only thing that I can come down and put my finger on that is those pieces that, for whatever reason, this fan connected with that piece and they see a breadcrumb that connects that piece to this show. So therefore they say that this is an amazing episode because it connected what I liked to what's going on with this episode.
Yep.
Okay.
I enjoy that. I enjoyed that little commentary between the two of you guys. Cause that's like, I don't know. It's like,
Wait till he and I do trivia together. It's gonna be a fucking mess. I'm
gonna
be like,
you got the right
that's
answer?
the right answer.
Are you sure you got the right answer?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about new Star Wars is how good are people at introducing new storylines to Star Wars, and I mean I trust Filoni for it and everything. And I'll say with Bad Batch, it's like I watched that most recent episode. I didn't watch the one before it, so I'm blank on that one because I just missed it last week. Bad Batch, I screwed up, and this is what happened. It's like the Mandalorian released, and I was locked into Mando, and I only had today to watch Bad Batch, so I watched the newest episode. But I also was shuffling around and doing some stuff kind of while I had it on, which I never like to do that because I can't fully focus. I need to sit down and shut off the lights and literally just like fully lock in. So I need to rewatch both of them again. It gave me Death Troopers, the first Star Wars novel. That's what it was called, right? With the zombies on the ship.
Yes.
When you had that ghost ship kind of flying through space and everything, and you had all these creepy sounds and everything, like it definitely gave me those vibes. I need to watch it again. I can't go into detail on it because there's absolutely stuff I missed in it, and like I missed probably the last like 5 minutes of the episode too. I didn't even see it. So
I will say this: Bad Batch to me, it's going to take some very, very heavy lifting for it to ever come to the point of Clone Wars and Rebels. It's not going to get there. It's a good show. It's tying some things together in that gray area between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. You know, it's fun. It's an action show, maybe ending off the clones and bringing up the stormtroopers and seeing what happens in the middle. Yes, there were tons of bad in Clone Wars, but the good was way good. And Rebels, I would say almost all of it was good. There was a few kooky episodes in there, but Rebels and Clone Wars, that's what I base all animation off of. And you can get to that level. I don't think Bad Batch is going to get there. Even at the sinking of Camino at the end of season 1, I'm like, okay, that was cool, but it's not like it changed the world for me. So I think there's a lot to be said about that. And I think there's a lot to just say, this is a kid's show that's fun, that's in between Revenge of the Sith and Star Wars. And if something really cool happens, great. But if it doesn't, does it entertain me for 25 minutes? And this episode entertained me for 25 minutes. I was happy with that. It's not going to, I will fight people. And I know Brent loves loves Rebels. And I can't decide every day whether I like Rebels or Clone Wars more. But they're right there because I love them both. But those kind of shows, they hit you and They bring family into the picture, right, Brent? They tell more depth into the story to make the story that maybe wasn't the best in the prequels. It adds to it, makes it better, right? So I'm not sure the Bad Batch is set up to be that way. I think Bad Batch might be a filler show that they had some ideas to do at the end of Clone Wars that they didn't get to, that they thought, let's have some fun with this and do some things to get little hints towards the original trilogy. So I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of turn, but that's my feel on it. I will enjoy it and watch it. But you said it earlier, DDoc, Mando is what this franchise is surrounded by. It's what holds it up right now. If Mando is popular and doing well, Star Wars does well. So that's it.
I agree with that.
So, do we know who that, like, whoever the cloner that was like the leader of Mount Tantif? Has he been in anything else?
Dr. Hemlock. I've never heard of him before.
Isn't Hemlock like the suicide drug?
I believe so.
Okay. So there's just, I thought I heard that name. And then the other thing is, it looks like he has a fake hand, just like every other Jedi that's lost his hand.
Really? I didn't even see that.
He's wearing a Michael Jackson black glove and he keeps holding his hand upside down.
Huh.
Like, watch it. He's holding his hand in a very odd way.
I will rewatch that. Look, I'm not gonna lie. After the original trilogy, it's hard for me to not say that the original Thrawn trilogy isn't my favorite Star Wars. I absolutely love that. It drew my heart back into Star Wars. It has a special meaning. So again, that Mara Jade and that Luke I just showed you, and then to see Tantus and Waylon and cloning things going on, I'm sitting there going,
Sure.
how does this not? It just, Brent, it makes me feel good. But it's an animated
Sure.
series that's not up to the level of Rebels and Clone Wars.
That's fine, but part of the reason why you like it is because it's tying in things that you really do love, and that's really all. Like, you love that, so they're bringing Tantif in, so that makes you really like it.
It does.
What I was hoping for was a Jedi on that ship and not a Zillo beast,
which would have been fantastic,
right? Because I'm looking for my boy, Jeru Sabayoth. Where, if you're gonna do cloning on Tantif, you need to bring him into it, right? Or some other, like, I was waiting for a Force sensitive to show up, and when I saw a tail scurrying, I was like, are they gonna go like Alligator Loki and say that like they're like this little thing is Force sensitive?
Brent, I think you might be right though. And a long time ago, when I knew this was a collision course between Mando and Bad Batch, I said, they better make the last 4 or 5 episodes of Bad Batch worth something. Or, like DDoc, you'd be like, oh, I'm concentrating on Mando. Oh, there was an episode of Bad Batch. I need to go check that out. I think people might overall be like, oh, Bad Batch is fun, but I'm really going to concentrate on Mando. So if you bring in, maybe this Zillo Beast was a foreshadowing of, we've got some crazy ass Jedi here on Tantus that we're going to be doing experiments on, everything else, and we'll see that. Maybe the last 4 episodes are that, Brent. I don't know, but I would love that. I think it'd be a great story.
I doubt it, but because I was, like I said, I was hoping that was the whatchamacallit. And then, like, I think Alfia said it, it's like the Bad Batch are really terrible at their jobs.
Every job they get, they fail.
Or at least the televised jobs. They talk about the ones that they do well on, like they bring that they did a good job, and then they bring that in, and then the next televised job is a shit show.
Yeah.
Because they haven't collected in like 3 episodes.
Go ahead, DDoc.
Now the thing that I heard at the end, and I didn't hear it like word for word, but they had mentioned Omega at the end of the episode, and they're like, she's the one we're after. Do they mention like what, like, because here's my thing is, it's like Omega's like a young clone who happens to be like a girl, and she's like, you know, I guess part of Django's original DNA.
Yep.
But like, what does that do? Why do they need her? Like, what do they want out of her?
They were trying to get Nala Se to do some work, and she wouldn't do work. And they said the only thing she's concerned about is making sure Omega is okay. So if you can get Omega, she'll do what you tell her to do.
And that's it. Like, it doesn't say that she's force sensitive. It didn't say, it's basically, this is her child. You're going to torture her child to get her. And the only way that you will get her to work is to torture her child, is the way that I took it. I didn't take it as there was something special about her. I'm sure there are people that are watching it. They're like, see, there's another nugget that says that she's force sensitive. I didn't take it as that. I took it as like, this is our way to blackmail her.
Yep.
I know how to blackmail her. To blackmail her is to take this child and make this child put this child's life in peril, and she will do what you say to keep that child's life out of peril.
100%.
So to me, it was more of a way to manipulate her than it was to say that she's got some powers that you need to get.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I didn't know if they're like, we're trying to get her to get whatever, like, you know, like that's the stuff. It's like, I do enjoy Bad Batch. Like, I don't know. This was my first week with it and I dropped the ball. I'm weird. It's like, for some reason, I can't watch Star Wars when the sun is out. I need to watch it at nighttime. I shut off. I'm a weirdo. My wife, like, when I watch a show, lights out, like, locked in. And it's like, I know during the daytime, I have too many distractions. Things can come up where I'm just like, you know, I just couldn't, I can't do it when the sun's out for some reason. Like, I don't know. I don't watch it when it's convenient for me. I need to like schedule it and just be like, I'm watching at nighttime. I don't know. I'm a weirdo with that kind of stuff. So that's why I'll for Bad Batch, I'll probably double down now and try to knock out Bad Batch on I'll try to knock out Bad Batch before the Mando episodes, I guess. And just get the double dose of Star Wars.
Or you can do like so many of us and drive to work with Bad Batch sitting on your dashboard while you're watching and listening over your speakers. And
I work out in the morning now, so it's playing in the shower as I shower before I go to work.
So Omega's seeing you naked. This is awesome to think about.
I mean, she's a cartoon, so sure. Nala Say's seen me naked too.
Man.
I mean, all she's got to do is walk in and she can peek her head over the top of the shower curtains.
Oh, man. I could see Brent and Nala Say. That's a power couple right there. Yeah. Okay. That's, I will end my side real quick. I went and saw Antman and Quantumania. It wasn't as good as the first two. It was entertaining. Sometimes they put movies together where they have 101 million things going on in the background to divert you and make your eyes hard to focus on what's actually going on. There were times in this movie it was like that. You spent the entire time in the quantum realm, which was weird, but it was entertaining. I love Paul Rudd. I love the character of Ant-Man. So that was fun. I think Michael Caine does a really good job for being, I don't know, however old she is. Michelle Pfeiffer is an attractive woman. And Kang, the guy who played Kang, I thought he did a really good job. He's actually good at that role. Very good. So, you know, it's a decent movie, entertaining, but it wasn't up to the first two. Is it worth
a visit? Is it worth a movie ticket? Because it's what, $14, $15? Is it worth? You're paying your little $18 a month.
$18 a month. I can see as many movies as I want. Everybody, Regal Pass. Just let you know. So I think because it's such a big action movie with a lot of things going on, seeing it on a movie screen helps. It'll still be entertaining because so many of us have 60-inch TVs now. I think it'll still work on that. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because there's not a lot of movies that I would say, man, I have to go see those movies. But since I've got this pass and because Tom Line and Ryan Massengale they like movies, so I tag along and have fun and we just laugh. That's pretty much half of the good thing of it. But by the way, for those of you who are listening, Mass is a former co-host, which we'd love to have him come back, but he's a stick in the mud. That's right, Mass, you heard me. And Tom is a follower, listener, but he just doesn't want to come on the microphone and talk.
He needs to. Tom, this is my shout out for you to come on, man. See? You got to come on sometime because I feel like he's a part of our podcast, honestly, you know?
And new listeners, if you didn't hear anything from Massagill, if you think I'm a stick in the mud and you think I'm a Debbie Downer and a wah-wah, Mass doesn't like anything about Star Wars.
No. He's Star Wars fan who doesn't like it.
Laugh. But I loved seeing the Wilson images of him because he also didn't know how to get his face on. So you didn't see we weren't posting on YouTube at the time, DDoc, This is how Mass recorded.
Oh, I saw you guys did eventually start on YouTube though. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mass, for anybody who's watching, all you saw were the eyes and the forehead of Mass. He looked like Wilson from Home Improvement. Like you never saw the lower half of his face.
We'll have to get him on. With the 200th episode, I am going to make sure, one, that T Bob's there. I'm going to make sure that a few other regular guests are there. But
that's
Mass,
5 weeks away.
I know. Mass and Tom Line, you are invited to come on and say hi on the 200th episode. So to go along with that, Cocaine Bear. Besides having O'Shea Jackson from Kenobi and Alden Ehrenreich from Solo, they were both in there, so that was awesome to see some Star Wars connections. Ray Liotta, R.I.P. Last movie, I believe, for Ray Liotta. And Siri, not Siri, Zori Bliss. I'm blanking.
Hold up, name. All of those people are in this movie.
Yeah. What
about a
Zori
bear
Bliss.
who's hopped up on?
What's her real name?
Carrie Russell.
Carrie Russell. Thank you. Carrie Russell,
Americans,
she's another one,
sexy as hell.
She made the show.
How are all of these people in this shitty ass concept of a movie?
No.
I think Aaron Banks directed it. Is it Aaron Banks? Yeah,
no,
she's got
Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks. She's got a lot of connections, man.
Hold up, hold up. Elizabeth Banks, the foreigner from American Pie.
I believe that's the same Elizabeth Banks. I don't know.
Elizabeth Banks, from
the boobs on American Pie. The one that Jim was gonna have sex with and he sent the invite.
Was Elizabeth Banks in American Pie? Was she?
There's a bank. I thought it was Elizabeth Banks.
I don't know if you've ever seen Wet Hot American Summer.
No.
Paul Rudd movie and her and excellent movie. Watch it. Wet Hot American Summer. Hilarious. One of my favorite comedies of all time.
I'm on my phone. One of you guys who's on a computer, look up this Elizabeth Banks, because I feel like if it is, she's smoking hot.
Well, have you ever seen
I know she's the director.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen Zack and Miri make a porno. I have not seen that one.
So,
she's in that.
But while we're looking for this stuff, there were more stars than that. This was.
Is it? Look up her film credentials. I don't think it's the same one.
Is this?
I don't think she's in American Pie.
No, it doesn't look like it. But
is that Elizabeth Banks right there?
And she's in Hunger Games too.
Yes, she's from Modern Family, Hunger Games, the one where they all sing. Oh,
she's the host on Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. She also did Press Your Luck. So that's Elizabeth Banks. Yeah.
So that's Elizabeth Banks. But
okay, what's the name of the chick from the boobs chick from American Pie?
You're thinking of that's a different. I don't know names very well. So
neither do I. But
I'm on American Pie right now. I'll find it here.
Anyway,
are you thinking of Carmen Electra? No, she's not an American Pie. No.
I know you're thinking about. She was the fake accent girl who was.
You saw her boobs.
Shannon Elizabeth.
Okay,
she played Nadia.
Elizabeth.
So
I had Elizabeth. All right, my bad.
Nadia.
So Cocaine Bear, there were more stars on it than that, Brent. That's just a few I named. The guy from Modern Family is in it. Mitch from Modern Family is in it. The lady who was a Russian agent in Americans, who was Carrie Russell's boss, she's in it. There's tons of people in it. So it was an interesting movie that had some good humor in it, had some good action. It was not my kind of movie, but it was entertaining. I wouldn't have paid $14 to see it if I had my choice.
I gotta wait for that one. Gotta wait for that one when it comes to streaming.
I had fun because Mass and Tom were making me laugh the whole time. Mass's son was in there, but it was an entertaining movie. But I would say Quantumania, if you want to spend your 14, go ahead, because I think it'll be better in the theater. But that one, there's a lot of people raving about it. I just thought it was okay. I didn't think it was that great. Anyway, that's my movie review. That's all I think.
I think I'm gonna get that movie pass. I mean, $18 a month, like for all the other stupid monthly payments
I'm gonna see next week or next month.
For all the stupid monthly payments.
I'm gonna see 65 with Adam Driver. I'm gonna see John Wick. I'm gonna see Shazam. Well, right there, $18 for 3 movies? Come on.
Yeah. Plus, you can also just be like, you know what? Screw it. I'll just see that movie that I don't even know about or might not even be that popular. Like, you can just go see movies. Like,
There
if
we
you
go.
want
It
to.
must be nice to be a dink with double income and no kids. So like you have
Hey,
the
just
free
because they
time.
moved out doesn't mean I don't have them. I still pay plenty. God love them. They're the joys of my life, but it's a never ending.
Yeah, but you got a little bit more free time than us littles with littles.
Yeah.
Well,
I know.
I'm envisioning. I mean, people on the podcast probably don't know about my personal life, but I'm envisioning myself like during the daytime being like, screw it. If there's an empty theater, I'll take the freaking baby there and watch a movie, whatever.
Amen.
No,
Hallelujah.
that'd be perfect. That would be
Yes.
a perfect thing.
That was how I trained my kids during COVID. I told my wife, I'm like, let's take them to the theater. There's no one going to the movies. I'm like, it's a good chance to tell them you got to sit in your seat. You got to be quiet, whatever. I mean, for Addison, she's just going to be sitting there just like, you know, I don't think I could take an infant to see Cocaine Bear. So like,
yeah, you can because the kid. Yes, you can. Because they're not gonna watch it because they're gonna have them in the pumpkin seat reversed, rocking it as you're watching Coco.
There you go,
right there.
So they're not.
And if she starts to cry, I'll just leave. Whatever, you know. Like,
you just give her some
I have-
cocaine because you got Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
We still got some of that T Bob energy here, you know.
And I'm gonna let you start off in the closing thoughts here tonight.
Oh God, closing thoughts. I don't know. So yeah, like I enjoyed the Bad Batch. Please don't sit here because I know that it sounds like I poo poo, but it's more I poo poo the people that bitch. I get so sick of that. That's what I hate. I hate on the people that just can't just. I would go to Cocaine Bear and I would be entertained. I think I said this before. I have a low bar for entertainment, right? It's not like I was entertained by Andor. I can understand how somebody's not. I have a low bar for entertainment. I can escape. Like that's what it is. If I feel like I've escaped for 35 minutes or if I feel like I've escaped for 3 hours, then it's done its job. Yep. And if the movie does its job, then I feel like it's worth going and seeing. So I like movies. The other part is like growing up, there's people that I would call them music people. You would see them walking around. They'd have their Walkmans. They'd have their CD players. Now they have their AirPods in all the time, and all they're doing is listening to music. I could give a crap less about music. I just want to watch something. My way of decompressing is coming in and watching, and it looks like I'm a bump on a log, but I want to watch TV for about an hour or two and leave me alone. I don't want music. I want something on television. I want something visual. I want something that I can watch.
You're a visual.
So right. And so when you guys talk like all of those music and background stuff, like, no, I don't care. I just want to see the story. I want to see the images. Anyways.
Nope, you're good.
To go on to that, like, I get sick of the people that just can't allow themselves to be entertained. It gets frustrating to me because I have such a low bar for entertainment. It doesn't bother me. Any of those things that like the analytical things of whether or not where the first order came from or how they got the fuel. Who cares? Right. So anyways, I liked the Bad Batch. It was very good. And there were definitely ties all over the place to it. It was more intriguing. I feel like you could there's almost like 2 different versions of the Bad Batch. Like there are the episodes that are the adult storyline that every adult wants to watch. And then there's the flavor of the week, right? So like the adult storylines would be this one. You go back and you get the like I couldn't name the numbers, but there's at least 5 episodes in here that like every adult's like, oh shit, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. Oh, we're racing pod racers. That's so wizard. Oh, this is good stuff. Oh, we're getting this blow up like a fuel that blows up and we're getting stuck on this mining colony and got to free them from their oppressors, which is the same thing that they start getting into the rebellion. And I thought they were going to transition more to the rebellion, but now they go back to showing how the Empire is still just kind of messed up. Anyways, Bad Batch is good. I enjoy it. Watch it. Mando, I said on the thing that people gave it like 100 on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, and I was like, I don't think it was all that. It was definitely fun. It was definitely refreshing. It was definitely what people are wanting from The Mandalorian. And if you're not watching all the other stuff and you're just watching The Mandalorian, you're not going to understand where some of the people that are like, oh, finally. You're not going to understand that finally comment that some of us are having because you're just watching The Mandalorian. You know what I mean? Because this is like, oh, this is where they left off, even though it was 2.5 freaking years ago.
It's been a long time.
I
It's
mean,
been a
it's
while.
way too long. Anyway, next Wednesday will be great because it's another episode of Bad Batch and Mando. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So final thoughts done.
Okay.
Yep.
DDoc.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy to have Mando back. I thought the first episode lived up to the hype. I mean, it has all of the elements of Star Wars where you have the cool ships, the cool costumes, the fight scenes, the spots that make you laugh, even though it can be a serious show. And as T Bob and you guys were talking too, like I remember last night I thought about this, like in that scene where they're having the standoff with the pirates and Mando's leaning against the tree. I thought to myself, I'm like, it's pretty amazing to me that every time that this guy's on screen, my eyes are just still locked on his armor, thinking how freaking cool it is. Like we're into season 3, and I'm still just watching him and thinking how badass he is. And I'm also watching Grogu, and I'm not like, I don't have any feeling of like this is played out or whatever. Like I don't have that feeling at all. And like there was a lot of talk about like how Favreau, which I thought was kind of cool to see. Like they said, like, you know, we've got years of this show left, kind of like they're like this isn't ending anytime soon. Basically, I don't think they're going to screw it up. If like people were making a big deal because they're like, we don't have an end in sight, and they're just like, oh, they're just gonna like make up stories and like, you know, it'll be story of the week or whatever, and they don't have the big picture. Which, no, you're full of shit. They have a big picture. they know what they're doing. Like I saw complaints about the fact that Grogu is even in the show anymore. People are like, I saw people online like he should have just went with Luke and just left it to Mando. It's like, just stop it. Like seriously, like I don't know. I saw takes online that I'm like, I learned probably the episode we had Stephen Kent on a while ago where he was talking about controlling your own happiness when it comes to the internet.
Yep.
I have muted so many Twitter accounts since he said that, and my Star Wars feed is excellent. And then recently, like, I didn't see any spoilers for Mando, whatever, but like it I don't know. I just have when it comes to Mando, I just have very positive vibes about it, and I'm just happy to be back into it. It was a long period between it. Boba Fett gave us that little teaser between, and it just feels good to be back in. And I think we're gonna have a real fun season, especially with these pirates. So,
agreed.
So I'm gonna jump in here real quick because you just said something that dawned on me, and I hate the fact that this is coming at 2 hours into the podcast. You have to, if you were listening to this, go back to episode 194 and listen to Jessica, the Duchess of Darksaber Light, and Stephen Kent.
I didn't listen to that yet, actually.
Dude, it is.
It's another level.
Like, so the
no
fact,
cursing, no fart jokes.
the intellectual discussion between politics, religion, and Star Wars is so high and accessible that you can get into it with them and have an argument with them, and it's done in such a very positive way that it's something that I feel like I should be proud of and promote every time we listen and talk. It is probably some of the best Star Wars discussion that I have heard in a long time, and I am not shocked that it came from the Duchess and Stephen Kent, right? Like that, those are the two people to make that conversation happen. But I think if you haven't listened to it, if you are listening to us this far in, you have to go back and listen to 194.
And I will say this, Brent, I appreciate you saying that because I asked Duchess to be a part of the show because while I love what we do as a group right here, and I love what our normal group does, I think it's good to have different views and different points and approach things from a different way. And that's why when at ICCC last year, I said, hey, if I want to take some shows off and let you kind of run things and just do them how you want to do them, would you be interested? And she was like, sure. And I right then and there, my mind was, we'll be the sitcom and we'll let her go over there and do a 1 hour drama. And people who like one or the other will have options of saying, hey, maybe sometimes Joe and Brent and DDoc and Alfie are goofballs and I need something to actually enlighten me, And other times people will say, that was a little heavy. Let's go over here and laugh with these goofballs for a while. And so her doing that and running with it, she had some things come up to where it couldn't be a normal thing, but I think it's going to be more of a standard. And I will tell you, I've reached out to Stephen Kent afterwards and I told him, thank you. And he said, that was probably the best Star Wars show that I can remember doing. And he said the discussions we had were some of the top level discussions, which has now made him consider coming back and doing his show again.
Right.
I mean, in which he should go to her and say, do you want to be on my show with me sometimes? Because they do a great job.
I mean, he got her like at the very end of the show, he got her Twitter and looked her up. So like he's like, oh, there you are. Okay, I got you. Like, so definitely, like the conversations that they had were very, 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 very good.
Yep.
And they had opposing views, and they definitely shared them in a very respectful manner. But you have to listen to it. Then, if you want to have a fun, you go to the one right before that, and you got Steve Glosson, and that'll take you right back into the level of where we're at.
Exactly.
My brother doesn't always listen to our podcast. I'll say that, but he texted me after that week and he goes, yo, this guy with the sunglasses is pretty awesome. Who's your guest on the podcast? I said, yep, that's Steve Glosson. I said, he's a good time.
There's not many better than Steve Glosson. Well, guys, thank you. We went long tonight because we had that energy from T Bob and we had a lot of stuff to cover. We always have fun. And that's what it's about. We're just having fun and just enjoying it and looking forward to the guests we have coming in the next few weeks. Still, DDoc and I are going to do some planning behind the scenes about episode 200. So we'll get some things going on that. But hey, thanks everybody for being there. You know how to track us down. Rule the Galaxy. Look for Rule the Galaxy, not Galaxy. Rule the Galaxy anywhere and everywhere. We love you guys for all following and listening. Until next week, may the Force be with you.